I think the solution requires both the kinetic and the non-kinetic aspects. At the moment, communities, just like I said earlier, are increasingly becoming polarized with the issue of mistrust and distrust along the border. What is far more important now is the issue of community reconciliation, finding the way of actually bringing these communities together, because it is now reinventing the idea of the farmer had a dispute or the farmer had a conflict that we know. The Hausa people along this particular border point accusing fingers on the pastoral communities or the Fulani that they are responsible, they are agents of this terrorist group. And I think that is something that needs to be stopped actually very urgently, or else we are actually going to see a new wave of the farmer had a conflict, because this issue of the Lakurawa, there is the theory and the idea that they were invited, and when they came in, they actually did what they did with the support of the local pastoralists. And today, we've seen them also engaging and recruiting their own local informants that provide them with local and also village intelligence. So what is important now is to conduct a deeper threat analysis of this particular quote and unquote new group, because it is identified as a new group. But I feel a boy of 8, you can't call him a baby boy anymore. But the issue actually, and the fact also remains, that we need to have this idea of buying in and keying in of rural and the local communities over what we are doing, because a portion or a fraction of the local communities in the affected areas have no faith. I'm sorry to use the word issue of having no faith on the Nigerian security system or on the Nigerian states, simply because of the idea of this ungoverned and undergoverned spaces. So all we really need to do now is to go into a massive campaign, bringing back these communities, let them know the impact of what they are doing, let them also see the threats of this idea of creating a state within a state. Then looking at the kinetic approach, there is no way we are going to have a successful kinetic operations without the buy-in in of the locals, because initially these people were living in the forest, but we have seen them gradually pushing into communities. And the same terrorist group that we're talking about have this sense of the issue of the collateral damage. And on that basis, they get closer to communities, infuse into the communities, so as in an event of air raid and air strike, or the air warfare, for instance, they will increase the rate of the collateral damage. In other words, both kinetic and the non-kinetic approach needs to be harmonized and needs to be done concurrently. At the moment, what we need is intelligence. And for us to get this intelligence, in my opinion, we really need to go on the ground. We need to get the people that are directly involved, to get the names, the locations, as well as the nature and pattern of these activities. Our attention, just like I said earlier, is focused on Sokoto and Kebbi. But believe in me, the threat is far beyond these 10 LGAs that we talk about. Why is it an issue in these LGAs? Is because of the recent happenings. But I also have the belief that similar activities and the presence of this group, for instance, is actually going on in other places that is still unknown. So the sooner we identify the gravity of this threat and we address it in the both kinetic and the non-kinetic manner, I think the better for us. And not only that, just like Dr. Kabir has actually mentioned and other speakers, I feel what is important is getting the buy-in of our immediate neighbor, Niger Republic. Because communities along this border are now moving to pass their nights, sleep in their immediate neighbor in the Niger Republic. Simply because of what? Simply because of the threat of the Lakurawa. You see a kilometer difference between Nigerian side and Nigerian side, But on the Nigerian side, you trek down to Niger, you sleep there, you pass your night comfortably, and then if you come back to Nigeria, what do you see? You see the threats of this Lakurawa. In these communities, we've seen pockets of banditry, but the Lakurawa have succeeded in dealing with the bandits. But my major concern here is the dividing line between the Lakurawa and the bandit is very thin. In an event of aggressive military operations, that is within the kinetic context, we expect an alliance, we expect a collaboration, and we expect synergy between some of these bandits groups and also this terrorist group. More so, they share a lot of things in common in terms of language, in terms of operational strategy, in terms of even issues around sharing of intelligence. I think what is important in terms of the solution is now win the hearts and the minds of the locals, because there is no way we are going to succeed in the kinetic approach or operations without the locals. And then these locals are gradually becoming inclined and in support of this terrorist group, unless and until we deal with this issue, this division, this mistrust, this distrust, and the issue of misinformation and disinformation. I don't think we are going to get it right.